One of the hardest decisions to make when putting together a golf simulator is deciding which launch monitor to purchase. There are a ton of different options at many price points, each with their unique specifications. In this video, we've tried to narrow it down to a few criteria to help make your decision a lot easier. We've come up with 3 different categories for launch monitors depending on where they're going to be placed in your system. We have overhead, floor, and radar. Overhead launch monitors are going to obviously be ones mounted to the ceiling of your space. That would be a Unicore IXO or a TrackMan IO or a Foresight GC Hawk as an example. The second category is a floor-based launch monitor. When we're talking about those, we mean the more camera-based launch monitors that sit next to your hitting area. That'd be something like a Unicore iMini, a GC3, or a SkyTrack Plus. And the final category is radar-based launch monitors that sit behind your hitting area and use radar to detect the shot, something like a Mevo Plus. So to help narrow the search, we're going to find out what category is going to work best for you, and then from there we'll narrow it down by make and model. So the first thing to consider is your intended use. Now you might be thinking, well, I'm going to be using it for golf, duh, but let's dig a little bit deeper into that. One thing you'll want to consider is if you're intending to use it both indoors and outdoors. There are some launch monitors that work great outdoors, but can sometimes struggle a little bit inside. There's some that can't go outdoors at all, and some that work great in both scenarios. You'll need to determine from the start if this is something that you need in a launch monitor, or if it's not really important to you. Radar launch monitors do a great job outdoors, and in general, they'll do very well inside. There are some factors that can affect the performance of a radar launch monitor indoors though, like having a lot of metal in the space or overhead fans or refrigerators in the area can affect the performance. Overhead launch monitors you really can't take outside at all, so if you want a dual use launch monitor, those really aren't the ones to consider. A lot of floor-based launch monitors are generally good both indoors and outdoors. Launch monitors like the iMini, the GC3, or the SkyTrack Plus. So if you do want to have a dual-use launch monitor, you'd probably want to consider one of those. Another important factor to consider is if you're going to have both right and left-handed golfers using your simulator. Both overhead and radar launch monitors are great for right and left-handed golfers to be able to swing from the same space. The floor-based launch monitors, not so much. With a floor-based launch monitor, you have to physically pick up and move the launch monitor from one side of the ball to the other, depending on if you have a right or left-handed golfer playing. So it can make a round of golf with both righties and lefties a little more inconvenient. To save yourself the hassle of having to realign the launch monitor in between shots, you're probably going to want to look at either an overhead or a radar-based launch monitor. Next, you'll need to consider the space in which you plan on putting your launch monitor. Many launch monitors are limited by the space requirements they need in which to perform. Overhead launch monitors are going to require a ceiling height of at least 9 feet. So if your ceiling height isn't 9 feet or greater, an overhead launch monitor is not going to work for you. Radar launch monitors will require more depth in the space to perform well, somewhere between 6 to 10 feet behind the golfer. So usually the bare minimum depth recommended for a room using a Mevo Plus would be about 19 feet. So if the depth of your room can't support this, you probably don't want to get a radar-based launch monitor. Floor-based launch monitors perform the best when it comes to space requirement because they sit right next to the golf ball as you're hitting. If you're working with a smaller space, a floor-based launch monitor is probably going to work best for you. Now it's time to consider budget. Overhead launch monitors tend to be the most expensive, although they are starting to get more and more affordable with options like the Pro TVX and the Envisage N1. The price of floor-based launch monitors, it's really all over the place. You can spend anywhere from roughly $1,500 up to $15,000. Radar-based launch monitors tend to be the most affordable with options like the Garmin R10 and the Rapsodo, although you can spend more than $20,000 with something like the TrackMan 4. So have a price in mind that you want to spend, but you want to be willing to work around that to get a launch monitor that you're really happy with. So with the latest technology, a lot of the launch monitors out there are going to be pretty accurate. So a lot of times what you want to base your choice on is the data that's available from the launch monitor and the different software options that are compatible with your launch monitor. There are some launch monitors out there that have open source compatibility, so they work with a lot of different softwares like GS Pro. Then there's others that really don't have compatibility with a lot of software, something like a TrackMan IO that just works with TrackMan software. When looking at launch monitor software, a lot of times they just come with the base level software, something like a driving range like you get with the Unicore View. That's where third-party software like GS Pro comes into play, where GS Pro gives you access to several hundred different golf courses that you can play on. If you're getting a launch monitor just to train and you want to be able to hit on a driving range, and that's really it, usually the base software that comes with the launch monitor will be great for you. But if you're looking to play golf courses and really use it for entertainment, then you're going to want to look at either compatibility with other softwares or check to see what kind of course selection is available with the software that does come with it. So that's it for this video. Hopefully it helps to make your decision process when picking out a launch monitor a lot easier. If you do have any questions, make sure you let us know in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.